Is a hoax. We've seen that Sandy Hook is a hoax. So how about the shuttle? And how about the Russian shuttle? Well, on a bit of an examination of the photos and looking at some of the other evidence, I'm afraid the shuttle isn't looking good at all. Not one bit does it look very good. So let's examine just one part of that, and that is the crowds. I've always wondered about the crowds at Cape Canaveral and the little bleacher stands. To me, it looked like Rent-A-Crowd. I think we should examine the crowd on the day of the disaster, of the shuttle disaster, and see what we can work out from that.
We're watching This is raw, unedited video, just sent via satellite. Picture you were just seeing is Christian McCullough's parents watching in horror. These are the students from her school.
Will Robert Parker eat your heart out? Or is this Robert Parker's sister? Now, at this stage of the game, everybody knows that the thing is blowing up. And most people are looking a bit concerned. But there's a few that think it's absolutely hilarious, including this lady. Now, that is not a grief look. That is a laugh. Now, there are other people laughing in the crowd. Admittedly, as the footage proceeds, they stop laughing so much because I think somebody's saying, hey, no laughing, keep it together. It's an acting trick, and they're pretty amateur actors at that. Let's proceed.
Many of them probably had their view blocked just as we did with the television cameras with just a huge fireball and a huge cloud of smoke. They may not realize yet what has happened. They see concern etched on their faces. The breath that they've been holding released. And then the realization sets in that something is wrong. At that point, all that remained was
Now, these are meant to be the female astronaut on the shuttle's parents. That nice little pouty face the John McCain clone is doing. And then the wife just touching her brow, looking very upset now as they realise their child has been killed. Well, really, it doesn't look that much like they're really that worried. I mean, these little pouts they do, but in a minute here, Mr. John McCain lookalike will start to smile up again. Yeah, he has a little smirky smile. And again, right through the crowd. It is a terrible thing, the way they do this. It's so amateur. Just got a few people here in the stand. It's not even that many people. Little controlled Rent-A-Crowd. And they're all there to play their little part that what they're seeing is people dying, but they're just doing such a poor job at it. It's so amateur looking. Happy joy, joy. I'm getting paid maybe $100 an hour just to stand here and pretend I'm crying, but I better have a bit of a laugh. Notice the stuff on his lapel there. That's quite interesting, isn't it? But it just shows you how bad this is. Look at this. Robbie Parker's dad, we might as well call him. He's just lost his daughter and he's just laughing his head off about it. Happy joy, joy.
Edward and Grace Corrigan. They're about 3.5 miles away from the area of the launch pad, and the VIP launch area. Families of the astronauts normally in the grandstand.
Well, as you notice, some people start to leave just like they leave a football game before it's over, streaming out of there, but these ones are still looking up in the air. That's what I noticed. People keep looking up in the air, even though wouldn't that have started to dissipate and be looking more on the horizon where it's crashed? But they're still looking up for effect, of course, and crying their eyes out and carrying on. But, I mean, they're not really crying, are they? It's just very bad B-grade acting. It's just so clear to see. Anyone that thinks this is real, I'm sorry, you're living in Disneyland. Don't forget there is a Disneyland in Florida.
Tom, as John Zarella pointed out from the Cape earlier, when all of us first saw the blast, there was a moment of stunned silence and disbelief. Many people perhaps did confuse it with the, is it the booster rockets?
The solid rocket booster separation, which
But it was
a little later.
It was far too early and far too big an explosion. And it took a while, I'm sure, for it to sink into the minds of the parents and school children.
You see Mr. and Mrs. Corrigan still standing, saying a silent prayer. This is Crystal McCullough's parents.
It's Edward and Grace Corrigan. Mrs. Corrigan had said in an earlier interview with CNN that she would be thrilled to be the one to be up there herself. That she once took flying lessons just because she liked the adventure of it. They'd always encouraged their daughter to be adventurous and to go for it, in other words.
Tom, the area that we were just watching, the bleachers where people were watching and photographing the launch, who was allowed in there?
That is the VIP section, invited guests for this launch. I myself received an invitation from Michael Smith, who was the pilot on this flight, to sit in these same bleachers and to watch his launch. Michael Smith has been a guest here on CNN before on our launch coverage and sent me a special invitation to go.
That would then include family members of the astronauts.
And it includes family members. I understand there was a delegation from China of 100 people, school children from New Hampshire.
Challenger's pilot, as Tom just said, was Mike Smith, 30 years old. He was a commander in the U.S. Navy. He's from Beaufort, North Carolina, graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. Served in Vietnam, is married, and has 3 children. And we hadn't even...
Well, isn't it amazing that NASA can spend billions of dollars on space programs, but when it comes to filming the crowd watching, they rely on handheld cameras. Looks like it's filmed by a phone, or filmed by somebody who just doesn't know how to film very well. For a minute they're filming okay, but then look, jerk, jerk, jerk over to here, jerk a bit over there. Absolutely very poor quality filming. Now you tell me they can't have a set camera on a tripod that just nicely pans around? And why don't we get any real 360 degrees ever anyway? That's always a telling thing. Of course not. It's Hollywood. You can't show you the other side here. Come on now. Get real. It had proved it's a hoax. We can't have any of that. Yes. I mean, tomfoolery and these people and the fake emotions and the fake conversations. It is absolutely Sandy Hook just 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever space shuttle launched. Just Disneyland. Now look at this lady from British Aerospace here. Or so she's supposed to come from. She's explaining it all. Listen to this.
Launch, and it's not clear what happened, except there does seem to have been a fault in the shuttle's own motors, its own engines. But again, I think we'll have to look at the videos again and see what wreckage is left.
So you're telling me this is the British expert. And how's this brooch? That is the brooch from hell, isn't it? It's an 8 and it seems to have the Masonic square involved in it somehow. Very odd brooch going on. And black and red theme here and very strange designs on the shirt. But I mean, she just doesn't say, if you watch the whole interview with this lady, you'll find she just seems like an absolute dummy. Now this one reminds me of 9/11, where the people are looking in the street at the two towers, but from where they're standing, where the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank is, they should all still be looking basically in the same direction. Just in two different tilts maybe, but they're looking nearly at 45 apart. Now look at this woman, and she's not even looking where she's pointing. She's looking to the left, and the little boy's looking to the right, showing you fake, hoax, hoax, fake, totally. Now if you had any doubts about the last photo, have a look at the multi-angles here. Look at the woman sitting down in the very far left, and she's looking really at 45 degrees, but there's a little boy looking totally opposite the other way. So are most people actually. They've all got a little bit of a different look going on here. There's a little boy there looking straight up in the air. I mean, this is really bad, mate. These people are looking at a multitude of things. It's obvious. Look at that guy with the t-shirt with the double arrows. That's a funny little clue maybe, isn't it? No, but truly, look, very bad stuff here. If you can't see that, I'm very sorry. Very sorry for you. And these little party pics, these are the party pics that they throw up on a little line here on the sea walls and stuff. And people celebrating, yay, America, whoa, we've done it. Oh, yes. And the curved trajectory. That's what I'm really worried about with this space shuttle, actually. Now, when I was a kid, I used to play with rockets. We had rockets here that you could have every year for the Queen's birthday. And we used to be mad on setting them off and firing them at each other even. But we used to put little things on them and do all sorts of things. And you knew if you tilted them anyway, they would go in a curve. Well, how does this thing fly with this attached to it? What sort of rudder system does it use to keep a straight line? And it just doesn't make sense at all, does it? None of this stuff makes any sense, really, when you really start to look at it deep. It does when you just accept the surface movie, for sure. But when you have a bit of a look and think about it, I mean, how does it keep balance? I really want to know. Now, for however B-grade the American space movies are, the Russian ones are always C-grade. Now, this is the space shuttle equivalent, the Buran. And the Buran is launching into like a cloud of flame that's already, look, above it. Look at that. Now, this was presented to the public in Russia as the launch of the Buran. Look at that now. Just watch that again. Can you believe your eyes here? Look at the way those flames then sneak into that wormhole, the fire hole. That is meant to be the launch of this thing, right? The Buran. You check that one out. Got to hand it to the Russians. If you want to disprove the American stuff, just go to the Russians, because it's so bad that it sort of shows you the whole thing is bad. And this cheese business here is the other one with this visor. The visor can't stay up. Even though we're in zero gravity, there's gravity on the visor. Those cheap Chinese visors just respond to gravity even when there's none. You've got to hand it to them, haven't you? What a terrible piece of footage this is. And again, thank you, China, for helping destroy the American space mission. So do a Google search image yourself on Burin images, and I'll tell you, you will see some really bad images. Look at this one here. It looks like they've just painted the thing on the cylinder in a sort of Photoshop style. That is quite possible. Look at the way it's overhanging to the left there. Doesn't seem feasible. And different markings. See? Totally, what's going on there? That just isn't right, is it? But of course we've seen this a lot, so what would we expect? But you do expect something a bit better, don't you, than that. You think they would clear that up. That's like the spacesuits with the different gloves, etc. And look at this image here, where there's city lights, but clearly there's no city lights. And it's incredibly like the US Space Shuttle. Of course, the two models built the same. Look, even down to these markings. Crazy, eh? Wouldn't believe it, but it's true. Yes. Now look at this. Photoshop. Total Hollywood image. Now this space arm is supposed to have Canada written on it. I'd say it's just a model that they bought from Canada or something. And these images are supposed to be taken from the space station of the launch. But later they admitted they were from a plane, which is obvious. But we never seem to see anything else from the space station like this, do we anyway? Of course not. What a fabrication that is. But yeah, look at the curve. Now that's just going to curve along and go on a big curve and fall in the ocean. It should be going much straighter if it's going to get out of this world, that's for sure, in my opinion. That looks bodgy as. But it's good for the public, all that trail of smoke. The ultimate chemtrail, you might as well call it. Really get the people in. And they've got all this stuff where you can view it from or something or other that they throw up. You know, all the stuff that NASA throws up. Look at this here. Spot the shuttle. You can see during the first 8 minutes. We got something they would have thrown up. Look at that curve. See, it doesn't make sense, does it? That's supposed to go in the atmosphere. That was like going straight back in the ocean to me. And happy little chappies before they meeting their doom. But of course they didn't even go up on the thing, so how can they have crashed? The rainbow too, isn't that nice? Same trajectory as the rocket is going to go on, that's for sure. Look at this. Look at the curve up there, mate. That's going straight back to Earth very quick, that is. Look at this one too. It's the shuttle rainbow. And it does change its colour, look along the line. So, yeah, I'm just not liking it. Looks a lot like a model to me. Very international rescue. Thunderbirds are go. You can see all the rigmarole. It could just all be a nice little model. Some guy reckons it's 3 foot high. And hello, look at this image. Talk about Disneyland. It's supposed to be over Disneyland. Here's a bit like the Russian image, going into the wormhole. Now, see, none of these images ever add up, of course, as we've come to know. Oh, there was a few launches, of course, so somebody's going to say it was all the different launches, which, you know, might be true to some point somewhere. But look, that's a model there. Who's taking the photos too? That's the old question. It's like the jumpers in 9/11. Who was up there at elevation and could catch something so fast? But of course, we can look back at images too and see similar discrepancies. And while these people are a bit better trained than the other crowd, they seem to be basically looking in the same direction, they still aren't. There's still a fair few discrepancies, as we've come to expect with everything over every year that NASA's ever operated. Now when it comes to this Gabby Giffords and her husband Kelly, well, we know that Gabby Giffords' shooting is a fake, and he's the husband. Well, he's a fake too, isn't he? He's a fake for participating in the Giffords shooting, but I mean, it's just second nature because he's there in the water tank or in a plane doing 0G, pretending to be in space stations, and he's been up in this shuttle or whatever. I mean, he's just a joke. And so it just shows you what a joke, sadly, America is. And I am sad about that. I mean, it'd be nice if America was real, wouldn't it? But of course, a way to get the punters in, especially the people who use emotion more than rationale, is to have a few kiddies dressed up as spacemen and walk them around with rockets in the background. Now, this really proves, look, it all must be true because, you know, look at those cute kitties. This is so cute. And it just has to be real because look how cute it is. Anything this cute couldn't be a lie. That's how you got to think, isn't it? Oh, doesn't it make you sick? Yes, I think this picture really tells it so well. You know, Walt Disney, Disneyland, Cinderella. And here it is, the Cinder, going up past the Cinderella Castle. It all looks just so beautiful. Would have looked lovely in the press, this photo. Look, it has to have been there because we know that there's a Disneyland in Florida. And look, it's going over the top of it. Isn't that great now? So is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Super Double Space Shuttle. Yes, just like you take the high road and I take the low road. You can look a little bit to the left and I can look a little bit to the right and we'll see the two space shuttles. Has to be two, doesn't there? Very good, NASA. Double up. So to just explain what I mean here for those that have their doubts, the lady that's doing the prayer with a bonnet-looking hat, she's looking virtually straight up. And the girls on the other side of the yellow tape, the old famous yellow tape, you can see, and all the people in that vicinity, they're looking quite a bit different angle. And that just can't be at the one event. Looks more like something you'd get at a display of kites. And there's kites all over the place in the sky. And some people are looking at that one and this one. Cheers, everyone.
The sun and the moon are within the firmament, and this is why NASA cannot get past into outer space, the so-called Van Allen belts. So when I make the videos on the space shuttles being nothing more than airplanes, you'll understand they cannot get past the firmament, period. They call it the Van Allen belts, but in reality it's the firmament. And like I've covered many times in previous videos, with space shuttles being nothing more than airplanes, according to NASA, space shuttles are nothing more than gliders during supposed re-entry. I'm going to show this clip, 100% proof. These are nothing but airplanes. They're jet powered, not coming in for supposed glide-in landing like NASA states. And there's a reason they have chaser planes escort them in. They're simply used to disguise the fact that these supposed space shuttles have engines. And just take a look at this landing. You can clearly hear and see that this supposed space shuttle is acting nothing like a glider. First off, those wings are too small to be of that of a glider. Take a look and take a listen to those jet engines.
Touchdown.
And as you can clearly see from this still, here's one of the two jet engines. In more Bible scripture regarding the firmament above, hast thou with the spread out sky, which is strong, and as molten looking glass? And now I'm going to play a previous video covering the space shuttles and showing how they're nothing more than airplanes. Now I covered this aspect before, stating how these so-called space shuttles are nothing more than airplanes. And these images here, and if you truly believe the back hatches of these space shuttles open up in space, this is completely ridiculous. Nothing more than a painting, a CGI effect, nothing real about this. Taking a look at this shuttle being piggybacked. This space shuttle is supposedly 80 tons on top of this plane. Look how flimsy. All this weight is going to be held up by this little metal piece in the front here. Just completely ridiculous how people buy this. More than likely, this is nothing more than a prop, completely empty, nowhere near 80 tons. Probably just a couple tons, if that. Now, like I stated in my previous videos regarding the space shuttle being nothing more than airplanes, covered this, but it needs to be again stated. How NASA states that space shuttles fly as unpowered gliders during a re-entry and landing, during descent. Now, to read off NASA's official website, again, the space shuttle flies as a glider during re-entry and landing. During ascent, to rise, thrust is provided by 3 space shuttle main engines. At the base of the orbiter and the 2 solid rocket boosters, there are joined to the orange external fuel tank. The solids are jettisoned and about 2 minutes into ascent, and the fuel tank is jettisoned as the shuttle enters Earth's orbit. So there's no propellant available to the SSMEs during descending, and though the engines are still present, the shuttle remains as an unpowered glider. In previous videos, I've demonstrated how these so-called space shuttles are nothing more than airplanes. And I included 1 clip per video of a space shuttle landing. Well, with this video, I'm going to show the Discovery, the Endeavour, and Atlantis landing. And with each video, you can clearly hear jet engines. So there's going to be no doubt whatsoever that these are, again, nothing more than jet airplanes.
This is serious business right here as the shuttle, which is really just a glider right now. This is serious business right here as the shuttle, which is really just a glider right now. Coming. Let's turn up the audio and listen to this for a minute. And they are on final glide path right now.
30 seconds until touchdown. Main gear. Landing gear now down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Pilot Jim Dutton now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown.
One minute to touchdown. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Deploying of the drag chute delayed to assess the conditions of the crosswinds on the orbiter as it rolls out on the runway.
Commander Charlie Hobart firing up the shuttle's nose for landing, and as you can see, the main gear of in place. Main gear touchdown. Pilot Barry Wilmore deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Atlantis now rolling out on runway 33 at Kennedy Space Center.
There's a shuttle. Touchdown.
And look, but this is one time. Forget the conspiracy. Listen to our government agencies. These guys are telling the truth. You know, there's no conspiracy here, folks.
And just a side note, to anybody out there that might believe I added in the sound of jet engines with the supposed space shuttle landings, just send a message or just make a comment below this video and I'll provide direct links to the source. So there's no dispute that these are official videos, they're unaltered in the original form.
I didn't plan to make a video today, but I found something very interesting. Since I'm a big fan of NASA, I like to watch many of their videos. Today I was watching this old footage from the Challenger mission. I was thinking I need to stop spreading this flat earth bullshit because maybe NASA is legit and maybe all their missions are real. Watching NASA videos is a good way to make yourself believe it's all real. Unless you find stuff like I will show you in a minute. Maybe other people found this already, I'm not sure, but I am sure that I never saw this before. So, when you look at this footage, sometimes it kinda makes you think, was it all real? Is it all real? Cause many parts of it kinda look real. Like the part where you see all the people watching the rocket, like this part. It's kinda hard to fake it and it kinda looks very real, so the rocket probably was real. But then, well, just let's keep watching, it will show up in a minute. This video was uploaded by the International Astronautical Federation. And like a good reporter or a good journalist, I check my sources and this is what Wikipedia told me. It's an international space advocacy organization based in Paris and founded in 1951 as a non-governmental organization. But it's full of governmental people. But that doesn't matter. It's uploaded by them. I will link the video in the description so you can all watch it. And maybe you can put some comments on the original video, but please be polite.
Making sure everything is running properly. The next scene you'll see from the cockpit is when the solid rocket boosters departed, and that was really a bright flash. And after that,
this is all showing the rocket from the Earth going to space. This is the real part because it is real. But now the rocket is getting into space, so now the fakery comes in. This is the time when you watch the recent rocket launches. This is when they switch to animations. But back in the time there was no software to make animations, so they had to do something else to convince you that the rocket is in space. These days they just use cartoons. It's kinda insane that people believe cartoons. Do you wonder how they used to do it 30 or 40 years ago? Do you remember Thunderbirds? That basically shows it. It's just a bunch of tiny models in a dark room with some special effects. But at least Thunderbirds did a decent job, because in Thunderbirds you never saw a guy in the background showing up. So this video is an astronaut explaining the mission. It's not like practice footage or anything. Watch closely.
That was basically our arrangement. Dan sat in the pilot seat during this operation, sort of monitoring the motion of the vehicle, making sure that it was steady and that there were very few vibrations of any sort. Here's a picture of the INSAT actually being deployed from the spacecraft. You can see that the deploy went very smoothly. At the moment of deploy...
Did you see it? In the background? There was a guy in the background, man. I'm not kidding you. You can't deny that that's someone in the background. There's a guy moving in the background. Here, watch it again. Watch it closely. I looked up, or I tried to look up the size of this rocket. I found this picture. You can see it's massive. So if that rocket is in space and if there's a guy in the background in that footage, that means that there are like giants, but like insane big giants floating around in space looking at NASA. That's probably why they don't dare to go back to the moon and why they hide so much stuff. Space is full of giants. Well, NASA, this video was a lot of fun to watch. There's a lot of weird things in this. Let's keep watching a bit more of this.
About a minute 20 seconds after deployment, you can see some of the jets on the spacecraft.
Here you can see how they switch on the light of the Earth. It's kind of funny, isn't it? How do you explain all this shit? But at least you can see that the Earth is a ball. At least they are not hiding the shape of the Earth. Or maybe is it a fisheye lens? Oh, the satellites start to spin for the video. Well, at least we see it's a ball, you know. It's even more a ball when it goes down. And it doesn't look like it's in outer space. It looks like high altitude at most. These old videos are a lot of fun to watch. Anyway, I showed you what I wanted to show you. Thank you for watching my video again. And by the way, I found a cool place where I can buy helium. So I'm not gonna launch a balloon or anything, but I have a pretty amazing idea in my head that I want to try for a long time already. I think I will have a video soon with my little helium project. I hope I can do it. More about that soon.
Okay, Venus?
Okay, Steve.
Right. Let's go.
I wish I was a spaceman, the fastest guy alive. I'd fly you around the universe in Fireball XL5. Way out in space together, conquerors of the sky. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball. Every time I gazed into your starry eyes. We'd take the path to Jupiter, and maybe very soon we'd cruise along the Milky Way and land upon the moon. To a wonderland of stardust, we'll zoom our way to Mars. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball, 'cause you would be my Venus of the stars. I wish I was a spaceman, the fastest guy alive. I'd fly you around the universe in Fireball XL5. Way out in space together, conquerors of the sky. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball. Every time I gazed into your starry eyes. We'd take the path to Jupiter, and maybe very soon we'd cruise along the Milky Way and land upon the moon. To a wonderland of stardust, we'll zoom our way to Mars. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball, 'cause you would be my Venus of the stars.
Yo, what's up? I'd like to comment on this new special effect that they're using over at NASA. This one is very bizarre looking. Caught me off guard when I was doing the video because I didn't preview it beforehand. This one's very strange. Obviously it's fake because there's not another rocket flying by it filming it. But it's very strange. It's almost like, it looks like old school, like green screen type stuff where they have like a little miniature prop and then they put it in the background, some sort of background, and then they move it around a little bit. But I have never seen this type of special effect inside the NASA. Usually they just give you the blatant, nasty CGI that just looks terrible. This one is awfully peculiar looking. I don't know if anybody has any idea exactly what kind of special effects this is, but it's just strange for me to see it. I've been looking at this stuff for a while. I mean, it's obviously fake. If somebody claims this is real, I'd like to see why they claim this is real. because there's obviously not like some guy, unless Superman has a friggin' smartphone and is filming this thing on his way up. I don't understand how this would possibly be real. It's fake. But it looks like a little toy model. I'm going to have to guess, because I'm a big fan of movies, and I've seen a lot of movies, and this looks like an old school movie. That's the first thing I thought was old school movie. Clash of the Titans, old school. You know, it's almost like stop motion looking. It jiggles around. I just have this thing on repeat. But this is my first time with this type of low-grade technology. And that's what they do over at NASA. They like to give you low-grade every time. It's how they do it. It's how they like to deceive. They like to give you low-quality, grainy footage, black and white, Atari graphics, PlayStation 1 graphics. And then now they're doing some sort of like prop green screen thing going on with this. It actually looks more real than just the straight CGI. It's definitely like a CGI thing, but it's just peculiar. So obviously NASA and their CGI department, their graphics design department has got a little, maybe they got a pay increase. It's gone up a little bit, I don't know. But their special effects are just like getting a little bit more funny at this point. So I'd like everybody to pay attention to this effect here, because we're probably going to start seeing this type of CGI type of this puppet bouncing around type use here in the near future. So I wouldn't be surprised. So check it out, and I'll see you later.
Now, if this video doesn't wake up the NASA apologists, there's no hope for them. Here is a Soyuz landing, and of course this is attached to the International Space Station. So this might be the ESA, could be the Russian, but NASA is involved too. So they all go down together. Because otherwise NASA would say, look at this fraudulence. They can hardly do that when some of their astronauts are up there on the ISS. Look at this for a landing. You just watch this. Down we go. It hits, and actually nothing happens. Look, nothing happens, nothing happens. Parachute goes to the ground. Such vivid footage. This is the best they can do. And look at this. How do they know anyway where this would land if it was real? Like in the real world, if this was real, how could they judge the landing? Now look at the amount of smoke and the way it drifts to the right. That's important to look at. So I'll show you another landing. Actually, it's the 16M, but you'll see that, and even this one here, this shows you. Look, this is supposed to be the same one even. Look at the smoke. It's not the same color, and it doesn't move. Now this is the real fun part. This is the fun. Look at this. Here he is. There they are inside the little hatch. You want to see it again? Let's just go back one bit. Oh, hang on. Let's bring it to where they first look at the capsule on the ground. Here it is. Now look. This is the capsule. Now look at the size of this thing. Look at the person relative there. 2 or 3 people in that with spacesuits. You sure? What other gear could they carry in there? I mean, this is the command module of today. Look at it. Look at it. It looks like a sort of big boiler or something. There's Swiss stuff on it. And when they look in here, let's look at this again. Up they come, and they have a little look in. There he is, look. There he is, inside, waving away like that guy with the thing. Sure, saw a little wave there. There, look, there's a little bit of a wave, I'm sure. Now look at this thing. Look at this thing. You go to the local hardware store and you buy this special type of ladder. Look, the circle in the center. And this is how they get out of the thing. Oh, it's comical, isn't it? Look, here we go. Put this up there, and you got to see them getting the astronaut out. Oh, what a joke! Here he is. Look, the guy with the headphones. The other guy looks like he's got a little torch on his head. Now look at the way they pull this astronaut out. And notice the red and black, of course. Let me just zoom forward just one bit to where they get this astronaut out. And they pick him out. He looks like a dummy. It's so light looking. It's pretty weird, whatever's going on there. Might be a couple of edit cuts here. Transferring from dummy to real person. Have a look at this here. But I don't think that bell thing was a thing that we saw land either, you know. It would be very dinged up and exploded. Oh, the nice ISIS colours, the yellow and black, the red and black. You know all the right colours here. Look, they're fishing him out. They fish him out. Up he comes, look. Or she, as the case may be. Here we go. And the she will be a he and the he a she anyway, so what does it matter? Look at that. I think it was a funny lift, wasn't it? That is just absolute garbage. Now, there's another landing here I want to show you that really is bizarre. So let's look at that quickly. Now, this is the TMA 16. No, 16. But landing near the town of Jezebel. It's something like Jezebel, anyway, Jez something. But just listen to this for a second.
As the Soyuz descends under its main parachute for an on-time and what apparently will be a bullseye landing to the southeast of the town of Jezebel.
A bullseye landing. The old bullseye landing. Cult of the Bull. Now, here we go. You've just got to watch this. This is bizarre. Let's just watch it at full speed and then we'll slow it down and stop it a bit. Here it comes. Ready, contact. Boom! Now, do you think you'd be really healthy? There's another guy who did a video on this subject. Said like a tin can exploding. A tin can exploding. That's exactly what it'd be like. And they go and fish those people out and they wave through the window. I don't think they'd be real happy somehow. Let's just get it to here. Oh, look at that. Look at that now. Do you see the flash? Do you see the flash? Seriously, folks. How can anyone believe in this dribble? I just can't believe that in the modern age, you know, with the access you have to all these tools to go and analyse these things, that I can actually have people on my channel here still sticking up for this. It's amazing. Let's just play this through in a bit of slower motion. Here we go. Coming down. Coming down. Just watch this explosion. Oh, and did you see the little tiny flash just ahead of schedule there? Whether you noticed that, we'll just see if we can capture that. This should just catch it here. We'll just see if we can catch it there. That's just only that X feet from the ground. About now. See, that was just there. I want to repeat it. You can go and look at it yourself. Look at that. Exploding white mice. Now, come on, NASA apologists. I want you to explain this to me. I want you to tell me how these people survived this horrific crash. And I tell you, when NASA goes into water, the water would be just like concrete, and they would also sink, because I've been told that little float thing's brought out and put under the thing. Well, how do the divers and whatever get it? And it'd be sinking down into the sea with 3 men drowning in it, at least out of air. Air must be critical, and they do say that. Or that they're right down to the last bit of air, you know, all that. The weight's just got to be right. Let's just look again at them getting out. Here we go. They're carrying her out now. She looks in pretty good condition for somebody that's been exploded like that. What do you think? Look, a little wave. Have a little wave. Carry her out, and we'll sit her in this little chair over here. Here we go. Sit her in the little deck chair. Ah, down. Ah. Well, there you go, eh? So what do you think of that, NASA apologist? Do you think that looks right to you? Of course you will. You won't want to change your values over something like this. Well, there you go. A terribly fraudulent landing. This rubbish here. with this little thing that they buy from the local hardware store. We call them Bunnings in Australia, this contraption. And this guy with a little camera here. Just pantomime. Absolute pantomime. And notice how blue the day was. And yet, look here. It's not so, it's a bit sort of greyer sky. Look at this business. That's very strange, isn't it? Very strange colours indeed. And then it goes to this nice. Why the difference? Tell me. It's always like that, as you know. There's so much bodgy stuff involved in this. It's hard to really know what you're looking at.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Lift off. Falcon 9 is cleared the towers. GC moved to section 10.66 to secure the pad. That'll be important.
It's some cool analogies, some cool math to figure this out, right?
I tried to figure out how hard this really is, and so I crunched the numbers with the size of the rocket and the size and how high it's going. What's happening with the first stage is it's like launching a pencil over the Empire State Building, having it reverse, come back down, and land on a shoebox on the ground in a windstorm. That's what's happening.
The critical part.
Yes. And I don't think I could throw a pencil over the Empire State Building and catch it on a
to
try
shoebox.
to do. And the crazy thing is, we're like 30 seconds away from this
crazy maneuver.
This extremely energetic room is a hush.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Stop. Falcon 9 clear the towers. GC move to section 10.59 to secure the pad. Stage for compilation is no longer.
Listen in the Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson, but then you wake up and you start to see the obvious. Life is just a lie and this whole world ain't what we thought it was. NASA's missions to the moon were never completed. They just filmed them in a room and people believe it. I used to wonder what it's like to be an astronaut. Now when I see them acting, I can't help but to laugh a lot. They give us cartoons and they claim that we live on a ball, but it's flat and it's not moving or spinning at all. Why you lying to us, man? That's something that we want to know. After that, you're gonna have to pack up all your stuff and go. History has been rewritten by winners of wars. The Jesuit order, Khazars, Freemasons, and more. They pulled the veil over our eyes, and it's time to awaken. Through organized indoctrination, our minds have been taken. It's time we take our power back and we rescue our people. The Vatican and the bankers are like Resident Evil. They may have had the greatest plan that was ever concocted, but Illuminati never thought that they'd ever be spotted. They're manufacturing reality all in our heads. They tell us if the earth is flat, then we'll fall off the edge. But if it is a spinning ball,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
This footage is so fake. It's so fake. Just look at it. You think this is real footage. You honestly think that this is real. It's so fake. It's so fake. Look at it. Use your brain and take a look at this footage.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
You think that this is real right here. You think this is actually happening, going up into outer space? Look at this. It's so fake. Ja. Fake, 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 fake. Dun, dun. And in case I forgot to say, it's fake.